a man's perspective and a woman's perspective is two completely different. And is also to show that, you know, a man is to lead and a woman is to nurture and have a form of guidance. But the man is definitely to have that dominant factor. A woman can be dominant to a degree, but a woman wouldn't understand a boy's perspective and how to. Welcome everybody back to the Rally Cry podcast. My name is Angel.
My name is Tyler, everybody.
And we are here today because we know, as I always say, is either you have a strong mind or you're not mine. And we're just trying to have strong minds and not let certain things get in the way of the way we think. You know, we talk about wellness, wealth, building relationships, and along with, you know, a little bit of a couple other things that might come in the fact because, you know, life is just life and there's so much to talk about, and why not do it together? Whatever platform you're on, make sure you leave a like on it to let us know that we're doing good, because, you know, that's good feedback. I appreciate that. And also for the fact that, you know, if it's on YouTube, watching our pretty faces, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Cast, Castbox, you know, there's a couple, you know, sources that you can listen to, but whatever it is, make sure you subscribe to us so that anytime when we post a clip, video, anything like that, quotes, you will be the first one to know, because yes, we're also on Pinterest as well, so we can have quotes on there. So,
and TikTok.
Yes, and TikTok. You can follow us on our Instagram page where, you know, we have clips, and we actually have it on our YouTube as well, but if you're more IG friendly, because I am, you can find us on there at therallycry.podcast, and everything would be down below whatever platform you're on. You can check that down in the description. And always. Hey, I just gotta say, like, me and Tyler have been so productive as far as, like, you know, school, as I know we talked about that last time, and you know, Tyler had a little vacation, and I went to go see Jay Shetty. Like, I'm just saying, I went to go see Jay Shetty, did the meet and greet. It was absolutely phenomenal, very humbling experience. I just want to give a quick shout out to Jay Shetty. I had everything I wanted to say. He's definitely an inspiration, and a lot of things that, you know, we come to talk about here can be a sort of you know, inspiration to what he may say if it's talking about love, building relationships, or anything like that. And, you know, when we're making podcasts, we're having these influencers and guides and mentors in the sense of, like, where we get this information, and, like, we then do our own research on things. And one of the research we did a little bit, which we're going to talk about, is you know, having parents in the same household is very important. So me and Tyler are going to talk about how, like, you know, having dada and mama is important, because a lot of times if we have a broken household, we already know how it could be detrimental. And some of us have an idea to where we're going to be talking about. But, you know, we got a couple notes here that we got from a website. And the website is coming from Genespide Shields.
Well, I mean, honestly, I would love to pronounce it, but hey, you could make sure to correct us on our butchers, because this is crazy. But Gillespie Shields,
I think so.
Maybe something like that. So, correct us.
Yeah. So, but definitely excited for everyone that is here. We appreciate you guys, and hey man, I miss you, Tyler, because we've been busy.
Yeah, we've been busy, and I can say
yes.
Living 3 days in the Bahamas, man, on a boat. I don't know if I got dark, but I can tell you this right now. I've been glowing with radiance, because the way the sun was over there. And then, I got to show you guys, but I got a sword. I got a sword.
Oh, man.
Out of wood and cow bone.
Really?
Yes, really. And it got little seashells in it, and like the bottom is crystallized.
From real cows? Or is it just, like, called cow bone?
I do not promote the butcherment of cows, but just
what you mean? We drink their milk and...
I do not promote the butcherment of cows. Like, do not copyright me, but hey, either way. All I'm saying is, let's get back to this, because that cow was made by both their parents. So let's talk about how healthy that cow was to make my sword. Like, you know what I mean?
If it was from
hey, I would hope. It's not a single family home.
Why don't you start us off as far as, like, what information you got from why is it important for us to have mama and dada together?
Okay. So, like, actually, it is extremely imperative that we have both parents in the household, because it actually increases the likelihood of how much more healthier the children will be. And based on, we're talking about their mental wellness, we're talking about their emotional wellness, but their physical being, because when both parents are involved, they are capable of exercising the community's benefits. So having being more closer to Whole Foods markets, so people that are living in, let's say, the suburbs, or at least two family households will have cars. two-family households will have more income to afford certain lifestyle of
especially nowadays
of healthy diets, because you got to think about living healthy. Yes, is expensive, but then we also think about how easy it is to buy fast food because it's fast and it's there. We have to think about how easy it is to buy frozen food because it lasts forever, and we can be lazy because we don't want to cook. So think about how more tempting it is for somebody who is on a budget all the time, living check to check.
True.
Because they're a single parent, because they have to cover all the bills by themselves, because they have no supporting family members that could help them in their situation. But why are you a single parent?
Yeah.
What went wrong in the choosing? Because once again,
on either parties.
Exactly. It takes two to tango. And when all this is coming to fruition, what choices are being made? What's being said? What kind of communication is being made? Because it's easy to get up in the bed with somebody and think that, okay, this is one thing that led to another, but it is more than one thing that led to another, because a lot of conversation has to be made, has to flirt with me, has to stimulate my mind, all this and that. And now, okay, pregnancy is here. Do both parties want the kid? Are both parties financially stable to take care of a kid? That's like a 6-figure investment, as crazy as that sounds, because that's not just 18 years, because it's more than that, because the kid isn't, I mean, it'd be nice if everything was to go right, but it would probably be like up to 21, maybe even 22.
Who knows?
Your child stays with you.
It also depends on the child's character that you build together, because a person's character is based on not only their experiences but even traumas that they may go through.
Yeah.
And it's funny how you say that. It kind of brought me to the fact that when I was at Jay Shetty's show over in New York, it's kind of as simple as it is. There's people that have a misconception of what they think love is, and if we're talking about getting in with someone else and then making a baby, we're gonna think that the other person loves the other person. I would hope so. Oh yeah. And not to say certain things could come from surprises, but that that happens. But there's people that when I say I love you, that person could be like, okay, well, do you love me for the night, or do you love me because you want to spend the rest of your life with me? Ooh. And so people might have that misconception, if you're with this person, are they loving you because they want to be with you, or just because it's just a one and done thing, and then they happen to impregnate you, or whatever it is, and it's just like, oh yeah.
And I like that you bring that up, because a lot of times the ideology that goes into becoming a parent, a lot of times people will go into becoming a parent for the wrong reasons, or at least let something be the wrong motivation. And when we really think about it, becoming a parent, it benefits both the parent and the child, but in a 2-family structure, not if it's just a single parent, because now both sides are suffering, because a lot of times when you're a single parent, you're going to be more convinced and depending on the government to help you out, because nobody else is doing it for you, and it's not like you could just, hey, can you help me out and lend me some money, because I need a babysitter, and not everybody's going to want to babysit somebody that's not their kid or somebody that's not their blood, because it sounds messed up, but we have to think about the kind of perception that's already created in being a single parent, and then already having to manage 2 different lives, because let's say, unfortunately, you're younger, 23, a single parent, your child is only 2 years old, you're still growing in life, you're still a cub, you can almost be looked at as a baby too. So it's like, when you are trying to raise a child, you have to see all right, damn, this baby got a chance at life, and a lot of times you got to think about the lives that aren't granted the opportunity to see life. So we're already blessed to experience life for what it is, because we got here. So there's more lives that didn't get to see life compared to the lives that are here.
Right.
So we can't take that for granted. So to let a child come into life unprepared, not knowing anything, you don't know anything, and you're not putting in time to make sure that they're in the best situation, why be that selfish?
Right. And then it's also to say, a balanced part of it is sometimes people are in certain situations where they might end up having a kid, and they just got in this situation where oh, well, I can't do anything right now. And well, I have this kid and I don't want, some people are against abortion because, we're talking about kids, and then making sure that they're prepared, abortion could come about it. And well, that's something that is very hard for most women. If we're talking about women, and we can't even understand to how it may emotionally feel for them. And so it's well, if you are in a certain situation like that, there's always, preparing while, it's coming in about. And if you have the baby now in front of you, well, you can always still grow into okay, what can I do now? to better myself if you are a single mother, because according to CDC, 4 out of every 10 children are born to unwed mothers. Nearly 2/3 are born to mothers under the age of 30, and that's honestly been increasing, especially around now. Like, there's a lot of young mothers, and it just so happens to be either because they were in a situation where they kind of have no choice, because we have a choice to a degree, but some things happen by minority. Some things, but that's just like by minority. But by majority, sometimes people are nowadays people are just carelessly like just having sex, and it's just like, well, at that point it's not even being casual anymore, because now casual sex isn't casual anymore, because now when people are careless, and men can also be very careless to like ejaculating in them and stuff like that, or not wearing a condom. You could just do that. It's so simple.
And then not voicing what their intentions are, because at the end of the day, you also have to make your intentions aware. Even though it is just sex, we also have to respect the idea of like, okay, whether it's with a condom or not, which is highly advised to use a condom because it will definitely increase the chance of not having a kid. But let it be known that if this was to be the case, I want you to know where my head is at and what my intentions are. Because if you were to get pregnant and this is a possibility, let's be adults and let's talk about it, because this is something that would be good to know. So rather than not having to talk about it, and then when it happens, it's like, hold on, right. Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
what?
Like, really, like, where was this at in the beginning?
Right.
So, I mean, and it's funny that you bring that up, because actually 64% of children live with both biological parents that are married, but that's dropped significantly since 1960, when it was nearly 88%. Yes.
That's
and
crazy.
Then it gets even worse. Hold on, it gets worse.
That dropped that much.
I won't say it gets worse. It gets more interesting. 15% of children today are living with parents who are remarried, while 7% are living with cohabiting parents, meaning that these are cohabiting parents where they're working as a team, but they're not really together, showing a true bond and example of what true love is in a stable household.
And that primes us as a society.
Exactly. However, there are 26% of children that are living with one parent only. 26. While that percentage has been growing significantly since the early 2010s.
Honestly, when I was born... Your boy was one of them.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
I was with my mom.
I'm a bastard, and I'm
a bastard too. If you guys don't know, it's supposedly a bastard is also someone that has been born with mother and father, but they're not married
at all. And I can say this:
that's funny.
Dada wasn't there, Mama wasn't there, but my grandma was. So hey, shout out to you, Grandma.
Hey, shout outs to my mom and shout outs to my grandma. So I didn't have my dad. So yeah.
Yeah, I love my mom too, but like it's the idea of like, when both your parents aren't there, it does make a difference, and also the ideology, like you got different generations, so if you're not properly aligned with your actual mother and father, who are coming from a generation that's not that far off from you because they're not that much older, if anything, probably 20 years older at most, getting raised by a grandmother of such from a previous generation, you'd have a different approach to life, which isn't wrong, but it's, as you're hearing, it's only more beneficial, and it's the right way. If anything, the only way to raise a child is with both parents, and
idealistically,
a proper supporting family, which grandmothers, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, all that other good stuff comes into play.
Yeah, and honestly, we can definitely have some people that may say, like, well, there's a lot of guys that don't know what they're doing. Well, I mean, that can be true, but, it's also, one's person's responsibility to vouch and vet out this person. Like, the same way that is responsible for us men to know what kind of women we're getting into is the same way where women are responsible for those things, and we're just accountable for all the things that come in our experiences. And, talking about, having no dad,
Daddy wasn't there to take me to the fair.
Where's that from again?
To change my underwear. Austin Powers.
Oh yeah, that movie's funny.
There might be a fourth one.
Oh really?
Yeah, he's talking about it because he was in an interview and his son was like, "Oh yeah, I got some ideas if you're gonna do Austin Powers."
I hope it's not overhyped like some things are.
I hope it's not cliche.
Yeah. But I got some factory here talking about daddies.
Ooh.
So in today, 1 in 4 children under the age of 18, a total about 17.4 million are being raised without a father, and nearly half, which is 45%, live below the poverty line.
Ooh.
So I was one of them.
So we're talking about Section 8. We're talking about living off the
low income
housing.
I was one of them.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and
did I say that? I was one of them.
Talking about the slums too. So, and look, and we got.
Hey, man.
And you know the thing is too. There's actually like no middle class. Believe it or not, like it's only like there's only poverty and then there's only high class.
It's only rich and poor. That's all they talk about. If we're talking about like if you were to go into politics, it's either what's it called, Republican and Democratic.
Yeah, and it's interesting too when you think about it because you would think at least middle class would be considered those who aren't homeless, who aren't like having to live in Section 8, so at least they are capable of sustaining the household.
That's true. What was I gonna say? I just think it's interesting. When we talk about such topics like these, it could definitely be a balance of a lot of perspectives and how certain situations could be different. And I think it's like the matter of understanding. Well, like even like from my experience, I didn't have a father figure. And women in my life have empowered me to understand myself vulnerably. And that is one of the natures of a woman. Like they are very good at being emotionally aware, which I'm definitely grateful for. I think a little bit of my emotional intelligence is because of my mom and my grandma, especially my grandma. I'm a grandma's boy. I love my mom. I'm a grandma's boy. Yes. When you make me cookies. Kiss me in my forehead.
Make me leche. Limbe.
How they, in SpongeBob would kiss in the forehead, cookies, sweater, all that. So that's kind of like, just picture me as that. If you guys know SpongeBob. If you don't, then discrimination. I love SpongeBob.
Oh, boy, you back to date.
Yeah, man. They have new episodes too, so I need to get into that. But hey, I'll be busy. Yeah, it's cool.
Subscription. Cool. You gotta buy it.
Yeah. But I think the importance is also like having both perspectives. A man's perspective and a woman's perspective is two completely different. And is also to show that a man is to lead and a woman is to nurture and have a form of guidance. Yeah. But the man is definitely to have that dominant factor. A woman can be dominant to a degree, but a woman wouldn't understand a boy's perspective and how to raise a boy to a degree. Yes. He can do it. She can do it because I've been there. I mean, look at me. You know what I mean? I think I'm pretty great. I've done well on my own, but then it's up to the boy to like look out for other male role models, figures, because I've done that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's definitely important, as Tyler was saying, like, it's idealistic to have men and a man and a woman in the same household, and it's in a healthy relationship.
Both biological parents, not just the man and the woman, but both biological parents. And I appreciate Angel for bringing this up because having both my mother and my grandmother, and more of my grandmother, it's the idea of like with women, it's not just that they're looking for communication; they create the communication to create connection. Right. That's what it is. So it's being able to make connection with your emotions, with your thoughts, and with who you are, who you're supposed to be as a human being. Because being in touch with your vulnerability allows you to understand yourself, and it goes to show that women have such great superpowers in
really do
bringing out people in general because they're such great nurturers.
They're social creatures. They're more social than men are.
That and with that being said, because they're that much more social, and because these are their superpowers, we have to understand that when they're not given the certain things that allows them to dabble into their true nature, they end up giving the opposite of that. And they're only supposed to amplify everything because women are fully capable of so many great things that, I mean, the list can go on. Yep. And that's outside of being able to give life. And they're not just here to give life, but it's the idea of when they're around the wrong people, when they're being told the wrong things, or or social media is advising that, this is the best solution for them and everything like that, but it's actually hurting them more. We have to think about what are we feeding into our brains, and it starts with us, which then gets onto the future, our kids, and even if it's internally within us, that hurts them even so. And it starts diet, right? What we read, how we think. Hey, even if we listen to bad music that's actually hurting us, music that's depressing,
there's a lot of those,
and it's unfortunately programmed into our brains because the beat sounds so good, the cadence is like very catchy,
which could be manipulative,
and it could be so like, oh my gosh, like this song is so addicting. Like, all right, last episode we was singing Juice WRLD, Lucid Dreams, but like think about like how he's talking about how heavy he is on the drugs.
Yeah, we didn't look at that. We were just saying this song was fire,
and singing the song is fire. The guitar, like all that's good,
yeah, right.
But
the lyrics ain't sounding good.
And like Kanye said it, how can something so wrong make me feel so right? Right?
It's true though. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's something that we're in a society where we think that we should know it all or things should be the way it should be, but we're not preparing ourselves to understand these things. Like, we think that we should just understand like how it should go. And it's like, well, if no one else tells us, then how do we know?
Yep.
And it's kind of how like, well, in the society that we've lived in, it's been kind of repetitive on how things go. And as you were saying, some of the stats, a lot of things has been increasing. So that means things just have been repetitive on how things are being addressed and how things are being managed. And the one thing about our society is that it's not repetition, it's evolution. And therefore, like, we're just trying to say, like, hey, idealistically, we have to be more mindful on the decisions that we make because it could be detrimental to our next generation.
Exactly. And I'm glad you bring that up because we look at the stat. Today, 40% of children are born to women who are either single or living with a non-married partner. So
wow,
we have to think about like, okay, you know, once again, it goes for both men and women, but also once pregnancy comes to reality, is like, why are you still going through with the pregnancy? Because if the father has no intentions of being there, or if the father already has showed deadbeat tendencies, and as crazy as it sounds, you know, it is messed up, but it's like, if they have showed deadbeat tendencies prior, what makes you think that going through with having the kid is going to change them, like literally give them a 180?
Yeah,
and then putting them on child support, and it does, and it's true. Like, you know, some people, like, I mean, hey, like, let's say they were just immature completely, but like having that kid was the one thing the one reality call that they needed to like just literally grow up or have that epiphany.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree. I think you made a point, like, to a degree, like, if you can vet out to see that if this person is even, you know, capable of being responsible, you know, then you could have some form of, like,
a
confidence.
Good rapport.
Yeah, right. But, like, you know, if you came to the fact that they're not responsible and they're more of these deadbeat tendencies that we know of, then it's like, why would you want to continue to try to keep having sex with them and potentially getting impregnated, right? But in some cases, like when people are unaware of it, and a lot of times women may say that, you know, men could be deceitful because we live in a society that, you know, life is full of deceit. Things is not always what it seems until you really get to know this person, and that it happens. It really does. But that's why, like, there's a process of like vetting someone out for so long. Like, you know, it might take a year, you don't even know, but you want to make sure you carefully watch this person so that you don't get in a situation like that. Now, if you become in a situation like that, either you're a guy or a woman, because it could be the other way around. If the woman is going through a guy that's toxic, or a guy's going through with a woman that is toxic, it could be both sides. Like, there's no, oh, it's only this person, it's only this gender. No. Like, no, honestly, there's takes two to make a wrong, like, honestly, because it's a relationship. It's not like it's just it's just this person. Now, if you did your part trying to help it out, then you only could do what you can. But it's really just to say that you have to be careful of being in a situation like that. And if you are in a situation where, like, you are, we're happen to not having a kid in the way, then is more of the fact of like, okay, what can I do now? And a lot of people are against like abortion because, you know, that would be an option that a lot of women do, or a lot of men try to give women, but a lot of women are very, that's like not an option that women like doing. And I personally don't even like that, because I personally think that, you know, it's a woman's body to decide something. But we came to a point where it was like not that long ago, it was talking about trying to take away abortion. And that was a big thing. And I was really against that. It's like, it's ridiculous for the fact that they want to take away a right from what they want to do with their own body. That sounds crazy. Now, the fact of why they were doing it is because nowadays, by majority, women and men are casually having sex and just taking abortions like it's just like a piece of gum or something like that. Like,
Skittle.
Oh shoot, I got baby abortion. I'll just get rid of it. Not only for the fact that having an abortion can increases your chance of, decrease the chance of you living longer. It's just like, why would you want to keep playing with life?
And it messes with your body long term to the point where it could speed up the process where you're not even going to be capable of having kids anymore.
Exactly.
You're only stripping your life force away.
Right. And so if that's the case, and we understand how detrimental abortion is emotionally and physically, we have to understand as a society of how to make sure that we vet out these people. And it's just kind of similar to when we're talking about toxic people in our previous video, vetting people out, and you know, there's so many like things you have to do to do that, but it's just the more of the point. Find out who this person is, and then you can talk about building a relationship. That's one step. The last step will be having a kid, not just having a kid and then try to establish a relationship.
And as Angel mentions that, we also have to think about like how social media guides us into this position where we're trying to work through relationships where people are cheating, people are toxic, got red flags, and all these other things. But it's like, these are things that we should already naturally be looking out for, and we shouldn't be tolerating. But the fact that social media is training us to tolerate this, now we're primed for these toxic things, that thinking that this is what relationships are about. But no, it's somebody that you could see a future with. And also think about financial literacy. Can this person, you know, manage a family? Can this person long term, you know, keep thinking for the future? Because we can't remain complacent, because thinking that whatever gets you, you know, by in life right now at 25 won't be the same when you're 35. So you have to level up. You have to do certain things. And yes, it may be challenging, but we have to face it. And when things are tough and when things are down and you have a pitch, and let's say, you know, you're in college and you can't afford to be at a full-time job, and let's say your significant other is going to hold you guys down, you have to show why you're being held down. You have to show why, like, you're making this large investment that, like, you're putting all your money in, because once those chips are in, you can't get your refund back. So your partner trusting you in that is because they see what you can do with that. So follow through with that, and then you guys can have the family that you guys want, because the last thing that you want to do is have to be like, all right, I guess we got to wait to see if our Section 8 gets approved. I hope we get our food stamps, because you're not going to need food stamps if you're making good money. You guys both got careers. Yeah. You guys are both healthy with cars and being able to get to where you need to get to, and prioritizing what is important, prioritizing what is going to make your life convenient, because eventually you don't want to keep working for the big man and keep working a 9 to 5. You want to be able to work where,
right?
Oh, woke up at 10 a.m. and not just made $10 million by not doing anything.
That'd be lit. I like that.
So, like, as great as that be, is, you know what I mean? Like, eventually we would like to, I mean, the way life is going, I mean, social media, I mean, pros and cons. We've been mentioning social media, but it can make money for us.
It could.
Nowadays. So, with the way life is going, I mean, by 2040, I mean, hey, it's just going to hopefully keep on getting easier.
Yeah.
But if you have the right core values that will make it easier for you. Exactly. You got to have the right type of hardships.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and that's to conclude, honestly. It's like I said, it's not repetition, it's evolution. And if we can understand how to have an evolution chain, we have to know there's step-by-step process in order to make that next generation. Because that is our evolution. Our evolution is our kids. And I'm 25, you know, just saying, eventually, I would like a kid.
It would be nice.
It would be nice. I'm just not just going to do it anybody. You know, that's just, you know, me speaking. I ain't going to do it. I know. I don't settle just because for something is available to me, you know, and that's how it should be for everybody.
Quality.
Don't settle for something just because it's available to you, all right? So we appreciate you guys. We understand this topic can be very sensitive in certain manners, because there's certain situations that are inevitable, and, like, those are the situations that can be very dire depending on what it is, and there's so many ways that things can happen, and that's just what life is. Things happen bigger than we can ever imagine, that, and that's what makes it a surprise. So if there's anything you have to say, Tyler, I think that is the end of our episode, and we appreciate you guys. But yeah, Tyler, what do you have to say before?
One thing I gotta say, like, my last comment is basically going back to my little niche. Like, if we're gonna unify this community, we got to make sure we're fulfilling it with quality as much as we could, because the more that we're just trying to build this community and we're feeding it whatever, we're just going to keep on seeing the same broken down homes, the same broken people going through the same cycles of trauma that we went through. And it's like, what are we really doing? What purpose are we? How are we fulfilling our purpose if we're not giving to our community a lot more and be more mindful and not being so invested into our phones and being selfish and thinking that the world centers around me? No, it's bigger than us, but it does take us as individuals to get there by working together. So let's continue communicating to unify this community all together, because one day at a time, we'll get there.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys. Whatever platform you're on, make sure you subscribe to us, like, the video, if anything that we said here has resonated with you, you agree with, and even if you disagree with it, let us know why, so that we can build a community and understand each other, because we might not agree on everything, right? Yep. But why can't we just talk about it like human beings rather than lash out and just be so angry? Let us hear your perspectives, whatever it is, if it's on Instagram or any platform that it is, if it's also on YouTube. So you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and also leave us a review on those platforms so that we know Pinterest. We're doing good. And yeah, Pinterest too. Yeah, you can definitely catch us on there. So until next time, you guys be easy,
be breezy.
Peace.